This video may contain some spoilers. Enjoy! Hello everyone! This is Dragon Videos, ready to kick off the month of April, and it's also a nice warm day. It's probably sunny where you guys are, and I hope you're enjoying this fine spring day. If you're looking for a fresh new topic, you're in luck. I'm going to focus on Oban Star Racers. For some of you who may not be familiar with this anime and what it's about, it's a French-style anime that focuses on a young girl named Eva who travels through space and practically through hell, trying to fix her relationship with her father by trying to bring back the mother who died in a racing accident. This was a very well thought out anime, and now it's getting a sequel. I once came across this image when I was surfing through the web, and I thought it was pretty interesting. There isn't a whole lot of details going on with it right now, but I thought it'd be cool to talk about it, especially because it's having its 15th anniversary. So without further ado, let's get started on talking about what could be seen in this anime sequel and what has to be offered. So, if you've seen some of my world building video, you had basically got the idea of what it means for world building. It's always important to have rules and regulations, as well as the setting of how things are set up. One of the interesting things of a world of Oban is just the setting of the background, how it's drawn out. It's very wild and ethereal, and it does have some rules, but mostly focuses on the race of Oban. And I do wish we got to see more locations aside from Earth and Atlas and Oban. Also, all the aliens are pretty interesting looking. Some of them creepy, some of them cute, some of them are in between. But I also wanted to get to know some cultures. We've had some culture introduction through Aika and Rush, and a little bit of a Krogs, but we didn't have much focus on them. We mostly have focus on of course, the race of Oban, the rules, and of course, the Avatar. No, I'm not referring to Avatar, the environmental alien sci-fi movie. Oh god, I'm not even talking about this Avatar either. This is gonna be a thing, isn't it? Every time I'm gonna be mentioning Avatar, this is gonna keep happening. Well, this is basically what the Avatar in the world of Oban looks like. Basically, a mighty being that is meant to protect the galaxy from harm. It's not supposed to have too much influence on the history as far as we know. But it's still something of high demand, and I do hope that in the future Oban Sequel, we may get a little bit of that, but focus more on the cultures and the other aliens in the process. There isn't much in terms of the villain department. I mean, true, we've had rival racers, but it always was 50-50, with Rashi was friendly, and we've had various forms of evil throughout the majority of the series. The major player would be Canaletto, which, now looking at him, he kind of struck me as the Skeksis ripoff. I wonder if a person who did this was secretly a Dark Crystal fan. Anyway, I digress. One of the reasons why he was such an interesting villain was how he was manipulating time and space, and how he was able to silence one of his followers and influence Eva. And the Krogs were also in there. They were somewhat of a threat, as we saw in the prologue, and we only got some ideas of how they're like when we saw them through the race. However, we've yet to see them as a culture aside from being ruthless and bloodthirsty. And of course, poor Iga got the blunt of it all, having to deal with being the middleman in a Krog and Eurasian crisis. He was forced to try to help, quote-unquote help, the Krogs win the race by any means necessary. In the series, though, I definitely saw this art, and there's some possibility from other fans that this could be a possible Eurasian enemy, which definitely would put some interesting concepts of how villains work. I mean, I would also be very interested if we had a human villain.
I had no choice. These creatures, you can't trust them.
Oh dear. Does anyone else felt any concerns in that episode? Anyway, I know some of it may be cliche and over the top, but I feel like it would have been better to have proper villains that way, as well as trying to deal with how to put everything together. Having a better villain in the sequel may help give more sense of depth and urgency to what Eva and the crew would have to go through, as well as present more of a challenge. Now, when we last saw Molly and Spirit together, they weren't exactly on the best of terms, especially when it came to the race. Okay, it was actually a full-out bloodbath that was waiting to happen, and I'm pretty sure that if the show was on a different channel and wasn't for kids, they probably would have pulled off a more darker means to it. But I do like Spirit's design and powers, the way he's able to manipulate his body up to the point where it was flexible and able to try to go through certain surfaces. I'd say he would make a very perfect ally, and though you can't see it in this image, he is actually going to be part of the crew from what I got through the poster, which could mean that he's somehow gotten to some sort of crisis that involves diplomacy between Earth and the Phils, and it may be a bit reluctant at first. I do want to see of how much that this group evolves. I'm pretty sure now that Molly/Eva knows the truth of what happened to her mother all those years ago, she'll probably be a little less hostile to Spirit, as well as try to have a more healthy relationship with him. And I'm pretty sure it'll be interesting to see of how Spirit's going to talk to her, since we know that they only talk through hand, sign language, or mental capacity. And then there's the Krogs. It'll be interesting of how their team dynamic is going to be set up. The Krog has yet to have a name. The design is very different, so I don't know if that's the Emperor or Tauros if he somehow lived. I definitely know it's not Cross since he bit the dust in the episode 22, 23. Anyway, I definitely feel like it's going to be a bit of a challenge for everyone to accept the Krog into their group, especially Ica, considering the fact that his life, as well as the life of his family and friends in Eurasia, was practically threatened and almost put his friendship with Eva in pure jeopardy. And that's not the only problem. Rush also has a huge grudge against the Krogs, considering the fact that they destroyed his home, so the mere idea of working with an alien that had practically polluted his home and stripped him of everything, yeah, that would probably not go well, considering of how it's gonna start out at first, but it will definitely bring more interesting dynamics to how the crew is going to be set up. And I do hope that we get to see the sequel soon. It was announced in 2017, so I definitely want to see of how it's going to go from there this year or possibly 2 years from now. But in terms of how the crew is set up, I definitely feel like it's going to be a little bit of an awkward, somewhat difficult relationship, but one that may come out pretty awesome in the end. So these are my thoughts in how everything is handled. Feel free to subscribe, do a like, as well as share your thoughts of what might happen in this Oban sequel and who you think may be able to take the step with this show. This is Dragon Videos, signing off.